Question for you, Benedict. Presumably a role like this, playing Alan Turing, comes with a strong sense of responsibility, not just to do a good job as ever, but when you're telling the life or some of the life of someone who's been wronged, to put it lightly, by history. I mean, there's an extra weight there, I assume.
I think so, and the sort of disparity between his importance and prevalence in our modern culture, as well as what he achieved in the 20th century, and the comparative lack of knowledge of the full span of his story in life. I mean, there's a fantastic film, film of the play, Breaking the Code, which I saw, and I think I was taught some variation of what went on at Bletchley Park, and his name was mentioned, but the idea of getting a broader story out there and a broader picture of him to a broader audience is obviously something that does bear a certain weight of importance. And yeah, it's his legacy. You know, this has been an extraordinary decade for him because of pardons, because of his centenary, because of exhibitions and books, and now this film. So it's part of a momentum, I hope, to have him at the forefront of the recognition he deserves as a scientist, as a computer, a father of the modern computer age, and a war hero, and a man who lived an uncompromising life in a time of disgusting discrimination, contextualized obviously by the fear of the Red Threat, but still without that's not an excuse for what happened to him. And to also try and, on a sort of more personal note, examine something that's not very well documented. I mean, physically, there's no medium of him. There's no, ironically, considering what he was about, there's no, maybe not because of the secrecy, but he was, there's no oral recording, there's no visual or audio recording of him. So there's a huge weight. Yes, it's a blank canvas to an extent, so you have a bit of freedom, but it's... yeah, you're toying with something you have nothing to bounce off with as a reflection. So I worked out from Graham's brilliant script and Morten, and I especially Morten's research and what he guided me towards, and the people I was lucky enough to meet who'd either met him or were related to him. And however long ago it was in their life story, they gave me accounts that were helpful to personalise this extraordinary man whose achievements we know in a sort of broad headline term, but be more specific about who he was, moment to moment in our story.
Since the movie opened, there's the Oscar talking about it for you, that you will get the Oscar nomination. So does it bother you, or how do you perceive this Oscar game?
Well, if it gets people to see the film, frankly, this really is all I care about. And it's very early on, it's very flattering, of course, but there are a lot of other extraordinary films and performances that people haven't seen yet or are also talking about. So it's a far way off. But if it creates an interest for people to see this film and what the fuss is about, then that's fantastic, because it means our jobs as storytellers is made easier if there's an audience for our storytelling. And more importantly for me, having sort of had some experience with this extraordinary man, I really want his story to be known as broadly as possible, and our film to be a launching point for more interest and understanding of him and a proper celebration of him, of Alan Turing. So from that point of view, it's good.
Thank you. There was a question a couple of rows behind there. Please, yeah, thanks.
Hi, this is Frank Johnson, Bergen newspaper, Norway. Just a follow-up to the other Norwegian guy's question. just to the actor, to the actors, because this is a very British story told by a Norwegian director. Did he surprise you while shooting or before shooting, or was it something fresh he brought to the script or to the film? Talking to Benedict and Keira.
Oh, about him being Norwegian?
Yeah, no, about... Did he surprise you during
his Norwegianness?
The process? No. His sensibility to the...
His sensibilities, no, I thought it was a very, very cool, very intelligent, very smart fit to bring a man who had brought an incredibly entertaining but really dark thriller to all of our attention last year or the year before. It was 2 years ago?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
But, he proved his brilliance with that, and the idea of combining that talent on something that had a massive thriller component, but also the minute I met him, I realised how astute he was, as is actually borne out with Headhunters, with character study. It is all about character study. You aren't invested in a thriller unless you care about the characters. So I was thrilled, and we talked, and we got on really, really well, and we both shared a passion for the subject. having engaged with the script and discovered more about this man than we had before, and being ashamed of that. Like I was the same as Morten. Why isn't this man on some denomination of our currency? Why isn't he on the front cover of science textbooks, history textbooks? So I was thrilled, and day by day, you know, he's got an extraordinary energy, and even when he's a lot of caffeine. And even when he's over-caffeinated, and you know, some of my stutter was often modelled on Morten. We had a wonderful script supervisor called Beverly, and sometimes just Beverly's name would just come out as that was it. That was what you called it, because he was on to the next thought, you know. But it's a great energy to have, and you know, I'm teasing him, but he was very specific in his direction, very highly attuned to all the turns and twists and the immediate circumstances and where we were in the story and contextualizing any moment. So, you know, you need that. You need that when you're telling an important story. You need a really strong director, not just with energy, but with intelligence and wit. And we got him. So, you know, I knew from the first meeting it was going to be a riot to work with him, and it really was.
Hi guys, first of all congratulations on an absolutely beautiful piece of cinema. My question's to Benedict. Benedict, as someone who's made such an extraordinary success of playing a socially abrasive, heroic genius on our small screens in recent years, I'm curious, when you're approaching this role, did you feel a certain pressure to inject Alan with nuances and personality traits that distinguished him from Sherlock? And given the lack of source material available, where did you look for that wonderful inspiration?
Well, I mean, I'm limited by who I am and what I look like, but at the same time, they're utterly different people. So yes, of course, and I think I did. You know, he doesn't swish around in a coat with curly hair, demonstrating how brilliant he is. He's a very quiet, stoic, determined, different, and definite hero. And I think someone who, yeah, he's smart, but I think the way that he has to operate as an outsider and as someone who is at all different is something that was very much out of the conditions of his life. And he, you know, as far as another similarity, that he's socially awkward, what you see is a whole evolution in him, which is humanizing. And that happens, I suppose, in some aspects of what we do with our version of Sherlock. But no, I didn't read the script and go, oh, this is Sherlock in tweed, fiddling around with valves and wires, you know. I like the wit of it. I liked how uncompromising he was, and I suppose that is a strong trait, I think. But that's a strong trait in strong characters, and they always have an attraction for actors of every variety. So yeah. Do you find I have played stupid people as well. I want to point that out. I mean, if anyone's got some more stupid roles out there for me, great, bring them on. But it's you know, it's a great honour to be asked to play somebody like Alan Turing. So the last thing I'm going to do is go, well, yeah, but you know, it's a bit like Sherlock, isn't it? Because it's not. It's really not. And you can't begin to fathom, you know, what an individual is if you start just categorising them as having similarities to other characters you've played. And I do try and shake it up, but I do see why people think that two clever people might have similarities. But yeah,
do you find those comparisons frustrating or understandable?
No, I understand them. I mean, yeah, they're frustrating, but I do understand them. Of course I do. Of course I do. I too watch stuff.
You spoke about how the assessment of Alan Turing is changing, but why did it take so long until the 21st century for him to get that recognition?
I don't know, but I guess the Official Secrets Act, I guess the dark stain of shame of the government's hand in persecuting thousands of men for their sexuality for fear of communist sympathies, I guess the idea that somebody's work, which in the mathematical sphere, pure math, is devoid of, for the larger part, geopolitical interests or any kind of culture of celebrity or need for it, really, above and beyond funding and actually being able to function in that sphere, means that, you know, the true amalgamated importance of the man is his life as well as his work, and that's only just slowly really become something that people have acknowledged. Yeah, why the pardons couldn't have been earlier? I don't know. I'm not the Queen or David Cameron. Maybe those will be my next roles. You'd like to see me play the Queen? Yeah. You'd like to see me in that frock.
I'll direct that movie.
Weird visions going through my head. Yeah, so no, let's move on from that. No, but seriously, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not going to decry it as being a disgrace because I don't honestly know the circumstances. It would be very interesting to investigate that. And I'd be interested if you did, because, you know, to me, you know, you immediately feel a sense of injustice playing a man that was treated as appallingly as he was, and whose achievements have for so long been overlooked or not conglomerated into the fuller picture of who he was and what he achieved, that we're now getting to understand. And, you know, this is a film and we touch upon those, and it's a thrilling story and it's funny and it's a film. But I beg anyone who's at all interested from what we present of him to look further into his life, his work at Bletchley Park, the biographies that have been written about him, and the other characters in the film, Joan and Hugh and Cairncross, you know, very fascinating characters, all who played an incredible part in being very quiet, stoic heroes, as well as thousands of other men and women who are nameless, who some of whom are still alive and still keep their secrets, even though they don't have to anymore. It's as much a celebration of that as well, but I think that might be part of it. As a society, I think if we've lived through a very secretive era or a shaming era, we're very good at sort of looking over things, and it's dangerous to do that, because the smell, you know, from underneath the floorboards eventually is impossible to ignore, and you know, hopefully this will do something to expose the truth of what happened to the man and some truth of the time as well.
I just wondered, Alan Leech isn't here today, who played John Cairncross.
He is somewhere, though.
Oh, is he?
He's in the hotel. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Where is he? Could Keira and Benedict maybe talk a little bit about working with Alan? I don't know, was it the first time both of you worked with him?
First time I worked with him. He's wonderful. Totally loved him. He was as bad at doing crosswords as I was, and I appreciated that.
I love Alan Leech. He's one of those people after 5 minutes you think you've known him all of your life,
yeah.
And he's just a lovely all-round human being, a brilliant actor, really talented, and incredibly supportive and fun to be around, and just he makes for a very good playing companion. Yeah.
Thanks.
How much of the maths did you actually understand? Who is the best out of the cast in applying the maths? And are you better at Sudoku now?
You're much better. You must be. What was the last part of the question?
Are you better at Sudoku now?
What's that?
Are you better at Sudoku now?
Am I what?
Better at Sudoku.
I can't even hear, so how can I be good at Sudoku?
No. We had one day we all thought, oh yeah, we should really be doing crosswords. So we brought in like the quick crossword. There were 5 of us, and it took us 5 days, and we still didn't finish it. So no, we're really bad at all of it, and I didn't understand any of the maths. Did you? Don't say you did.
No, that opens up a whole can of trouble.
Yeah.
I remember when we were there, we had this specialist who was trying to describe this wonderful machine, Alan Turing. Yeah. was
At Bletchley Park.
Yeah, at Bletchley Park.
Oh
and
my God,
we were standing there.
Look on the guy's face. It's just how many thousands of times.
We
brought him. We had all these experts, and they were trying, and we just listening, and then we see this panic in the eyes of everybody. We're looking at each other, and it's like, this is impossible.
It was that feeling that I haven't had since school, being in maths, of just like, you sort of feel like you've died and there's no way to concentrate at all. And it was that, and I'm desperately fighting because he was such a nice man. You go, this is really interesting, I should be paying attention, and I couldn't.
I mean, you know, there's a great broad romance to the philosophy of maths and physics, which is dramatised these days, which is tangible, hopefully, because otherwise there's no point in explaining it or sharing it with an audience. And I think there are hugely exciting things that on a base level everyone can understand. The idea of coding, the idea of programming, the idea that what we use as language can be turned into something universal and can be used in a machine here, China, Russia, you know, New York, wherever. And those things excite me. You know, the fact that my eyelash has carbon in it from a star excites me. I don't necessarily understand everything about how to make an eyelash, but it's the broad brushstrokes are very appealing. And you know, as far as the machine goes, the machine, the bomb, Christopher and ours, but the bomb, in reality at Bletchley Park, that was the moment where I thought, right, no, this is very hard. And the guy standing in front said, can you explain it to me? And he just looked at me and went, right, so what we have here, and you knew it was not just me, not just a stupid actor, but also the fact that every other person isn't necessarily a pure math expert, a mechanical engineer, or a combination of the two. These are incredibly complex machines, breaking down incredibly complex problems at a great high level high pace and high volume. And I understood a little bit about it. I did understand a little bit. I understood a lot about the Enigma machine, the actual coding machine. But yeah, if you put an algorithm in front of me now, even a quadratic equation would have this press conference go on far too long than it should do.
We've got time for a couple more questions, please. There's one, if we can just keep at the back there. There's one at the very back there by the pillar, if I can take that. And then we'll come in the middle over here. Thanks.
Benjamin from Gay Times. This is to Benedict. I was wondering how you approached portraying Alan's sexuality and its subtleties and doing it in a way that was appropriate to that generation.
His sexuality is something that is contained, that is expressed in the film but not shown explicitly. Neither is there heterosexuality expressed in the film. And so what we show of it, what his behaviour towards his sexuality is sadly true to the story, which is that he had to, for a large part, suppress it, make it private, make it something secret. And when the cost of sharing that information, but also in Alan's case, being completely explicit with it, whether it's talking about, treating a young man to touch my penis in the police interrogation scene, whether it's talking with, my mind's gone blank, Alan Leech's, Cairncross, thank you. We're talking about Cairncross confessing his sexuality at the engagement party, is just to honour Alan, one of complete honesty, of guilelessness, of innocence, and sort of to be aware of the risks, but at the same time not willing to cave in to the intolerance or the potential permutations of confessing such a thing. And I think that's possibly where he stands. I know lots of people own him as a martyr or someone who is a standard bearer for a cause. I think he was just very true to himself, which I think is a form of martyrdom. It is. But he didn't make a political statement out of it. It was a personal thing for him. And to remember that he was physically active, so his sexuality was something that was important, that his physicality was important, his athleticism as well as a runner was important. And while it turned out to be the most important tragic strand of his story, it is but one strand of his character, albeit an incredibly important one. So, yeah, it was really important to me. It was really important to me that we got that element of it right. And I think in that time, the conversations you hear are incredibly explicit. Yeah. Does that sort of answer the question? Sorry.
We're going to have to wrap up the press conference now. I just want to end by, Morten, you spoke earlier about how excited you were to open the London Film Festival with the Imitation Game. Keira and Benedict, you're both, sorry to exclude you, Graham, but you're both Londoners. Yeah. I know both of you have attended the film festival before. What does it mean to both of you to open this festival with this film?
Go. Okay. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's really amazing. I mean, yeah, I'm a Londoner, and I've always wanted to spend more time at the LFF and to be up front and centre with this film. I couldn't be more proud of it, and all of our work in it. And to present that to Londoners is just terrific. And yeah, I'm really, really excited. It means a lot.
Ditto.
Well, good luck with the release. Good luck with tonight, and thank you very much, all four of you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.